Mario with MIA Microflight. Today is Friday, January the 30th, 2026, and I have come back again to this helicopter. This is the C189 from our Sierra, the MD500, fitted with some MIA Microflight upgrades, my own blades, modified tail blade from GWS blades, and my last video that I did with this flying, this was flying beautiful. It was hands off free for the whole time of the complete video that I did, and so after that flight, I tried to do another flight at night, and this thing got out of whack for some reason. Got out of calibration. I didn't bump it or I didn't do anything. I just put it on the table and tried to fly it again, and it totally, totally different flight. It started to get away. I had to cut down the throttle using the stop button, my emergency stop button here that I modify my radio with so it's easier to access it. And came down once again, crash landed. Luckily, I caught it with one hand. Minimal, minor damage to the skin, to the supports here. So I removed the barometer, and in the process of removing that barometer, I couldn't do it easy and cleanly, so I ended up running the traces to the PC board on the flight controller, which happens to be also the receiver. So I removed the barometer. I showed that in some other videos, and then last night I decided to put it back together and see if maybe the barometer, that foamy frame was loose, and it was creating inconsistencies in the pressure sensitivity of the barometer, because that barometer needs to be held somewhat steady. If that's flopping and it's got too much vibration, it's going to sense those, and it's going to send that data to the microprocessor, the flight computer, to make adjustments to the throttle. So I decided to put that back together. I actually scraped some of the traces that were left over there, and for the plus minus SCL, which is the clock, serial clock, and SDA, which is the serial data leads, and I connected it back, and I got a couple short flights, but this had a tendency to want to go up again abruptly, so I had to cut down the throttle. It was late at night. I decided to go to sleep and then come back again today and try this again. So I'm going to do that in this video, and let's see what happens. I did use a better adhesive on that foamy pad, the square pad or frame that supports the barometer gyroscope. Now, the gyro feature of that device is working just fine. It's a barometer, the one that senses the pressure changes in which is basically just height deviation, which also talks to the optic flow sensor. Now, I don't have the optic flow sensor connected on mine right here. I disconnected it completely so that I can do all the manipulation myself for stability. So this probably is not going to fly. If it does fly, okay, and if, by itself. But that's not what this video is about. I just want to see if I can hold altitude. We don't have total control over the throttle here because the computer is doing the throttle management at the startup, and also via that pressure sensor. Unfortunately, I was trying to bypass the barometer, but this will not work without that barometer being connected there. Now, I have some another video that I did yesterday with respect to how to make this work without the flight controller, repurposing the 2-in-1 ESC. I did find out how to turn on the 2-in-1 ESC, so you don't have to remove the ESC. You can repurpose the ESC with your own flight controller and receiver, and that I show that also in a schematic diagram in one of my videos. So check out those videos. I mean, there's a lot of information that I'm putting on my own videos, because I have not found detailed information on these things and problems, solutions, and just options to work around these barometer issues that a lot of people have had since the beginning. I think 2023 is when these things were released. We're 2026, and the same issues are creeping up. I would imagine that the company would have fixed those issues, either in the code or better components. But it looks like these things are still around. So in this video, I'm going to attempt once again to do another flight, and see if this has that tendency to want to creep up. Okay, I have installed the original battery. So make sure that this is locked in place. It is. Come on, baby. Unlock. Okay, this should be locking. And it's not locking for some reason. Why is this not locking? Okay. Oh, it's because of this right here. It's not engaging in that plastic. Yeah, that plastic is loose. That so that should. Yeah, I gotta see. Okay. Well, anyway, there it goes. So let's see what happens. Okay, I'm gonna go through the sequence again. Bind it, calibrate it, and take off. I am going to pause the video, put it on the ground because I'm afraid it's going to hit my roof. I'm underneath the side of my home here. There's the roof sticks out here. Okay, ready to hit my emergency button right here in case this starts to get away, as it was typically doing last night. Let's see if I can, maybe the day or the lighting changes. Well, I'm not using the optical flow sensor, so it has no bearing on that. Let's see what happens. Okay, I am keeping the throttle really low here so it doesn't creep up on me. If it does, maybe I can cut it really, cut the flight when it's maybe 3, 4, 5 feet, no more than 6 feet, because there it goes. It wants to. Yeah, I'm increasing the throttle. My cyclic. Okay, I have the throttle. I'm not touching the throttle here. I'm just using cyclic because the optical flow sensor is not. Come on, baby. It's not. It doesn't seem to want to come back this way. My cyclic control is crispy, and even though I have it on the max angle there. Come on, see, it doesn't. It just doesn't want to come back this way. It's like it's fighting it. It's just very it's very annoying that sometimes it wants to hold throttle and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, I am not touching the throttle at all. In fact, I just brought it down just slightly a bit, to bring it down because it wants to creep up. But there's also a very, very slight breeze, so that may have something to do with it. But as you can see, sometimes it flies okay, sometimes it wants to take off. And the times that I've experienced this thing wanting to take off, see, it doesn't want to go that way. Jesus, I'm putting a lot of left aileron here, and it just doesn't want to go that way. Okay. Sometimes that can lead you into crashes because if you're trying to get away from a wall, it doesn't react as precise and clean. Like right now, see, I'm putting full aileron left. It just doesn't. So I have to cut down the throttle and use my tail to bring it around, to get it into that mode, which is not cool because you should be able to do that through cyclic control. Now somebody can say, my trims are off. No, my trims are center. I center all the trims. So the barometer, it is somewhat working after repairing the traces and rewiring. Yeah, I just use independent wires, some really thin wire, to reconnect the barometer, and I used a better adhesive on the foamy pad to hold it more steady at the contact point, because that rubbery frame is rubbery enough to allow it to minimize vibrations on the barometer sensor. So that may be something to do with the fact that I'm able to at least fly this at very low throttle here. Now I'm afraid to go to full, not full throttle, but a little bit higher, because it will want to creep up when I make that change in throttle control, which it makes a change in height, and the barometer sensor senses that. So I'm just going to increase the throttle just a little bit here to put it in that position in case it wants to get away here. See, I'm trying to hold the aileron, left aileron. It just doesn't want to come back here. Now I'm doing that through the throttle here. The changes that you hear is me increasing it gently. See, I'm doing left aileron. It doesn't want to come back, so I have to lower the throttle to get into that mode, almost like weight shifting control. Look at that. I have to lower the throttle here because it doesn't want to come back here. I don't know if my camera's catching this, but I mean, I wish I could have the reassurance that it would fly like this at least most of the time. But at night is when I experience those. See, now I'm cutting down the throttle, and sometimes the throttle doesn't cut completely, and you just have to wait for the computer to drop it to zero throttle, which is not acceptable, because in case you get in trouble, you want this thing you want to shut it off. See, right now I have no throttle over here. I have my throttle all the way down. I have my throttle all the way down here, and it's not doing it. It's not lowering it. See that? It's just not dropping it. So the only way to drop it here, now it's dropping it. Nope, it's still maintaining that height. My throttle control is all the way down here. Now it dropped it. You see how long it takes for this thing to lower the throttle and stop? It's not acceptable. Not acceptable. If you really want full control, the only way to do it is without using the barometer. And that was my point in my other videos, is that I was trying to see if I can remove the barometer, but without going into the flight controller computer, the code that's embedded in the memory. You just simply can't do that, because it's programmed in the code to handshake, do handshakes between the barometer and the throttle control, the ESCs. The only way that I can see at this point for the user to have full throttle control is to remove the flight controller, which it also has the receiver. So you're not going to be able to use this radio, and just use repurpose the 2-in-1 ESC. I discovered that you can certainly do that by putting a switch on the flight controller at the points that I indicate in one of my other videos, and you can just leave the flight controller, the ESC, the 2-in-1 ESC, as is. But you do have to inject the control signals to those via your own receiver and gyro for the tail. In my opinion, I think we can get this to fly with just a tail gyro control. It's probably not going to hold as locked in as this is doing, because this one of the nice features is this does hold the tail really, really well. But it's that high control. That's the less important detail here. The more important is the throttle. You don't want these things to get away. You can, if this is doing that, you can adjust that. I'd rather have that wagging uncontrollably than this taking off on you and not being able to recover the helicopter at that one time. If it gets away too far, or you end up crashing this beyond repair. So that is my take on this. I'm going to trigger this on again, and hopefully, let's see what happens. I mean, let me shut it down again. Okay, that's working when it's on the ground. Okay, so let me just go through the whole sequence here. Let me recalibrate here. Okay, and turn it back on. Gently, I'm working the throttle gently here. I don't want this to get away beyond a certain height. See, right about here. You just have to see it. You hear that? It like wants to go up abruptly, and I'm kind of releasing because this throttle has a spring to it. I'm kind of trying to release it back to the mid position here, right there. Okay. Let's see if I can keep it at that height right there. The barometer should be able to sense that, and it seems like it is sensing that those high change, not the high changes, but that throttle position right there. Yeah, but my aileron to the left doesn't seem to engage quickly enough to bring it back to that position in case I start shifting to the right. See, right there. I don't want to crash against the wall. And I'm putting full left aileron here. That should bring it back. But it's not doing that either. And I do have my trims center. I centered them prior to this flight. I'm going to increase the throttle here just a little tiny bit. I'm trying to keep it centered so in case this takes off vertically, I can at least land it in my back air here. The last thing I want to do is land it in my neighbor's air here. Now I am increasing the throttle a little bit here. I am at about 75% throttle right here, and that's how it's responding. Okay. And when it wants to get away. My throttle is low right now. My throttle, I have no throttle, zero throttle right here, and it's not coming down. Look at that. It is not coming down at all. Zero throttle. Jesus, I have to raise the throttle, lower it. No, it's not coming down at all. Let's see if my landing does anything here. Landing button, no effect whatsoever. No effect whatsoever. So at this point, if I wanted to just land, see it's not landing. I'm just going to use the kill button here. There we go. That is my emergency button here. That's where we're at with this. It's unacceptable. It's an inconsistency. I hope your Sierra is watching my videos because I have done so much experimenting and testing, and I mean it's all in my videos. It's all in my comments, my explanations, my discussions. I mean, and I'm sure there's a similar. There are similar comments on some of the RC forums that talk about these things. I don't participate in forums. I stopped participating in forums a long time ago. There's too much drama going on, with some people there, and so I stopped that. But I have come across some threads that talk about some of these things. Have not gone through the whole thread, but. I have seen similar comments, mainly in YouTube videos of other people having flyaways and issues, but nobody is really taking the time to investigate, the reasons. And so that's what I'm doing in these videos. I'm just one of those people that I don't rest until I find out the reason of things. And so my take is that that barometer sensor or the code is the issue with these helicopters, and removing that and just going the old traditional way with weights on the tips of the blades to establish a mechanical stabilization. I think that would be a solution. The other solution is what to do what other people are doing is programming dedicated, more professional, more high quality helicopter flightless flight controller. And of course, that's going to cost you, another $700, to do that. Or I also read through Rotorflight that you can program one of these F4, F5, not a F4, F7 type quadcopter flight controllers. I tried doing that yesterday through Rotorflight. I downloaded Rotorflight to my computer, tried doing that, and it doesn't update the firmware on those flight controllers. So maybe there's specific ones that only work with Rotorflight. I was trying to do one on Crazy Bee F4 DXS, and the other one was a Crazy Bee Pro. They're a little bit older flight controllers, but they are F4, and Rotorflight does say that you can reprogram and remap some of the points there on those particular flight controllers. If I can get one of those working, those flight controllers, all I need is just to remap the motor outputs to servo outputs, because I am going to be using the 2-in-1 flight ESC. As I showed in my other video, you can certainly do that. I mean, you don't need to throw away that, when doing that type of setup, with a Rotorflight flight controller. If you want to go that route, a do-it-yourself type thing, not a fully integrated, dedicated flight controller for RC helicopters, flightless type. So that's my take on this, on these things. My video of today. Let me know in your comments what you think. Share this video with other people. I wish my videos would get a lot more views, but for some reason they don't. And like I said, I have my suspicions on the reasons for that. I think it's beyond the algorithm, and it's unfortunate that we live in a world that everything is seems to be deals under tables, and you get ahead depending on who you know and how much you pay. It's bullshit. Mario, once again, stay tuned for more.